When you look at places like Racine and Milwaukee, Central City, you have a lot of African American men, particularly out of work. What could be done to like create jobs at every single sector, like on the lower end, the middle end, and at the higher end? Is there any plans in place to tackle that issue?
Well, again, it goes part of into investing in businesses that'll come, whether it's Milwaukee, Racine, I'd throw in Kenosha, Beloit, Janesville, all very similar characteristics. We got high unemployment overall, obviously disproportionately high unemployment amongst African American men here in Milwaukee and Racine, but you've got similarly high levels in Rock and Kenosha County as well, just overall. And it, again, in quarters that traditionally have been historically very much driven by manufacturing. The good and the bad is that the bad is some of the big employers have left. The good is, at least in our overall in our state's economy, and even the numbers we've seen earlier this year, there's 23,000 jobs, about 11,000, or excuse me, 26,000 jobs, about 13,000 of those are in manufacturing. That's more mid and small sized manufacturers. It's an area where we see a ripe market coming up from Illinois with the changes we've seen down there versus where we're headed. We're a mid-sized employer looking to come up, maybe to grow, not to grow in Cook or Forest or Lake County, but instead come up to Kenosha, Racine, or Milwaukee County. Those are areas we need to target and make it attractive for them to come in. But it's when you hit the spectrum, you've got to have jobs, or you got to have the opportunity to have people in multiple skill levels, multiple wages. But the other thing we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and you guys wrote a story in the business section about this, Tim Sullivan commented on it, working with Department of Workforce Development at the state level, working with MATC and with MPS, as well as Racine Unified and others, we've got to make sure that there's a skilled workforce ready. I mean, Tim Sullivan, I think, shocked everybody when he talked about, how they had gone to Texas to move some of their training facilities up. And that's remarkable. I remember a few years ago as county executive talking to Tim about that. At the time he was frustrated. He was recruiting welders, high-skilled welders up from Rockford because there weren't enough welders here. Well, I mean, those are jobs that are base $55,000 to $60,000 with overtime anywhere from $75,000 to $100,000. We've got to find, I said at that meeting with that council, our goal should be there shouldn't be a business like Bucyrus or anybody else in this state that isn't able to find enough skilled workers within the state of Wisconsin. Right? We should never hear another story about going to some other state to get the skilled workforce, because that's just unacceptable.